Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2025-26 NBA season. You already know the drill. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe on YouTube for all things LA sports and your home for LA Pro basketball. And, of course, you can also listen wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to be a member of the channel like my guys Danny and Daniel Barry, who are tapping in right now, every single comment of yours will get read in the live. You are also entitled to members-only lives where we'll break down film together and giveaways at 25 and 50 members, 2 separate giveaways, one for Laker fans, one for Clipper fans. So plenty of cool stuff with that. So become a member. And also, if you just want to support your boy, tonight we're going to be talking about the Clippers' recent form, having won 13 of our last 15 games. And our last 3 games that I haven't talked about on this channel, besides the one that we did a vlog of, which was the Washington vlog, which does not even have 1,000 views yet. And the Celtics vlog also doesn't have 1,000 views. Guys, we created a standard last season. Every single vlog gets to 1,000 views. So we got to keep that standard going. It's some good videos. This Jaylen Brown, I know he dropped 50 on us, but it was definitely an experience to see like how the Celtics fans and how many fans there were that came into our arena. It was annoying, but something to see. Super chat from Daniel Barry says, nice win streak for you. I appreciate you, Daniel Barry. It has been a nice win streak, and that's going to bring me to talk about it right now. So the Clippers against the Hornets game was a game I actually didn't go to. And, you know, it started off with James having a quick 11 points getting downhill, but we still weren't really making shots as a team in the entire first half. We actually shot 33% in the first half and had 11 ties and 10 lead changes. And the biggest lead for either team in the first half was 5 points in that one. And then Kawhi just went absolutely apeshit in the third quarter, had 19 points in 6.5 minutes. And honestly, the Hornets didn't go away, and it was a 2-point game in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And we were even down in the fourth quarter with 9.5 minutes left. But then James Harden came in and hit 2 threes. Jordan Miller had 8 points in the fourth quarter. We went on a 13-1 run after a Kobe Sanders dunk on a Jordan Miller pass. And so we kind of ran away with it there. So Jordan Miller had 10 points in that fourth quarter. And James Harden had 2 threes when he came back in the game. So solid win there. That was against the Hornets because I didn't talk about that game. And that we won that one 117-109 with Kawhi Leonard dropping 35 points, continuing his 20-plus point game streak. Harden also had 32. So between the two of them, they had 67 points, and Jordan Miller had 14. It wasn't pretty, but we got it done. Made ourselves 16-23. Then the next game was against the Wizards, which I went to, so you can check out the vlog of that game. I have content out on that one. Kawhi had 33. So continuing to drop not just 20 plus, but 30 plus. And then the last game that I didn't talk about, I was intending on going live on Friday night, but I just couldn't. It was a big win for us against the Raptors without Kawhi Leonard, who was ruled out of the game, which for what I thought was just going to be load management. But Kawhi Leonard is dealing with left knee irritation, so he was sent home and is going to miss the remainder of the road trip. Now, the only thing that scares me a lot about that is Kawhi Leonard, knees. You know, that gives me PTSD with all the stuff that he's been through. And it's like he's going through this incredible stretch of playing some of the best basketball of his career, scoring. He's averaging a career high in points, believe it or not. Somehow he's averaging a career high in points. We hope it's not serious. They say it's not serious, but we can never believe anything when it comes to Kawhi Leonard's injuries and health reports. Now, before we continue this live, I'm going to shut off the Twitter portion of this live. So if you are watching on Twitter, please go to YouTube. The link of the YouTube is posted on my Twitter. And this is where I make my money. And I'm trying to get to 14,000 subscribers. So please come to YouTube. I'm going to delete the Twitter link now. So for those of you on YouTube, shout out to everybody in here showing love. We got 16 people in the YouTube right now. And we're going to talk now, but a little bit about this Raptors game that we won on Friday night. It was a big one without Kawhi Leonard. So with Kawhi, let's just wait and see. Obviously, we're playing some good ball right now, but it's not fully sustainable without Kawhi, in my opinion, just given all the injuries that we've had and I don't want to say our lack of depth, but we aren't the team that we thought we were going to be going into the year depth-wise. We obviously have had some guys that, you know, haven't played up to their potential or that have been injured, right? So no John Collins in this game either, out with the sore groin, and then no Kawhi Leonard. And the things that stood out to me were that the Raptors players did a pretty good job on James Harden in the first half of the game. Guys like Scotty Barnes, Ochai Agbaji, these guys did a pretty good job on Harden. Now, Zoo was blitzing on the pick and rolls with Brandon Ingram and then dropping on Scotty Barnes. Same thing with Brook Lopez. We were trying to take away Brandon Ingram's pull-up. And then with Scotty Barnes, he's not as good of a shooter, so we're kind of inviting him in that in-between area. The Raptors, who have had a very impressive season so far, and I'm not going to talk about them in depth because I'm saving the talks about other teams for my members-only lives. But they've had a very impressive season, better than I expected them to have. And one of the things that I noticed about them is because they were missing Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly. Obviously, they were shorthanded as well. But without Jakob Poeltl, what they did was they had Colin Murray Boyles play the 5, and they were switching 1 through 5 a good amount, which was causing us to be more stagnant. And they were up 18-4 early in the game because James Harden was just absolutely bullshitting. Had a lob to himself that was called for a travel, bricked an open 3, got blocked by Brandon Ingram, and missed another contested 3 early on in the game. At the same time, the Raptors could not miss, and they were also getting it out in transition off of our misses. So they were beating us 10-0 in fast break points early in the game. At one point, Ty Lue went with a lineup that involved 2 bigs, Yannick Conan-Niederhauser and Brook Lopez. So we talked about that in preseason so much of, are we going to see, because Brook Lopez is a spacing big, are we going to see him play with Ivica Zubac in the same lineup? And this was the first game where we saw that. We didn't see that today against the Wizards, but it was just interesting. And I don't think it was like detrimental or anything like that, but just cool to see Ty Lue go to that. And at one point, we had a lineup in the beginning of the second quarter that was all young guys. Cam Christie, Yannick Conan-Niederhauser, Kobe Sanders, Jordan Miller, and Kobe Brown. And it was pretty short-lived, but it was fine, I guess. Nothing bad happened. So Cam Christie did a really good job in that Toronto game of attacking closeouts. It was one of his best games as a pro. And, I love to see our homegrown guys cook. And Cam Christie has a pretty good ability that we saw in Summer League of being able to attack closeouts and finish around the basket through contact. So I thought, even though James Harden was having a terrible first half, our young guys were keeping us in it. We shot 56% in the second quarter. And as a team, we shot 62% in the first half outside of James Harden. But all I was thinking was, can James Harden get going and can the Raptors cool down? Because the Raptors the last couple of years have been a bad three-point shooting team. And this year, they're also not a great three-point shooting team. I don't have the stat on me right now, but I can check it. But I knew that I figured that they were going to cool down eventually from 3. This season, the Raptors are dead last in the NBA in three-point percentage. So there you go. Dead last. So you knew that they were going to cool down and, we were going to eventually heat up. And that's kind of what happened. But in the third quarter, Ty Lue made an adjustment. He went with Jordan Miller instead of Nico Batum to start the second half. And that paid dividends, in my opinion. Jordan Miller had a nice dime to a diving Kobe Sanders, who, by the way, does a good job cutting. And that's one thing that a lot of NBA teams lack nowadays is spontaneous cutting. And Kobe Sanders, that's something that they emphasize much more in college basketball. He spent 5 years in college, so he kind of has that base level knowledge, and he had some really nice cuts. And then Jordan Miller had a transition 3 and a fast break layup. So it led us to go on an 11-0 run to give us a 68-63 lead in the third quarter, propelled by our young guys. And I thought Kobe Sanders was playing really good D on ball. He was getting in the passing lanes. He was rotating well at the basket. He was doing a lot of the little things. James Harden, however, was not playing good defense. And then we started to turn it over. Zoo had a travel. James had a bad pass. Jordan Miller got ripped. Yannick got ripped. And we went back down by 11. So going into the fourth quarter, we were down by 9 points. I think we were down by 7 points. Yeah, 7 points. So going into the fourth quarter, Daniel Barry, I have no idea who you're talking about. Who's Jerry? Jeremy, that guy in the comments. He's a Laker fan, I believe. So anyway, all I'm looking for down by 7 going into the fourth is where's James Harden? Can he show up here? Because if he can play well, we can finish this off and get a win here and then maybe play through Zoo a little bit more, but we definitely got to limit our turnovers is what I was thinking going into that fourth. And Brook Lopez got off to a decent start in the quarter with a nice spin move and a pass that led to a foul and then a 3 that he made to make it a 2-point game. And we capped off an 11-0 run to tie the game. And a lot of it was our younger guys putting more pressure on the rim in the half court, whether it be attacking closeouts and getting downhill or Jordan Miller getting 2 feet in the paint, or in the full court setting where we have younger athletes out there that can get out in transition and want to attack the rim. Cam Christie being one of those guys, finishing around the rim. Then he hit a 3. Then Chris Dunn, he had a good game from 3. And it was nice to see that after he had a rough shooting game against the Hornets, where he was 0 for 6 from 3. And then we were down 105-97 with about 4 minutes to go. And at this point, nobody had scored over 16 points for us in the game. Nobody had scored. Right? And then James Harden took over late. Got downhill. We got some stops. The Raptors started cooling down. We forced overtime. And then James Harden hit some big mid-ranges in overtime. And Kobe Sanders ended up icing the game at the free throw line. The Raptors cooled down massively and missed a lot of shots down the stretch. And we were able to win 121-117, even without Kawhi. The Raptors ended up shooting 33% from 3. We shot 36, but we shot 52% from the field. And it was a heroic game from Harden, who had 31 points and 10 assists. And then Jordan Miller continues to play the best basketball of his career. He had 19 points on 8 for 11 shooting and 3 for 5 from 3 to go along with 2 boards, 6 assists, and 4 steals. And then we also got 16 points from Cam Christie, 15 from Chris Dunn, and 13 from Kobe Sanders, and a double-double from Zoo at 16 and 14. So really good win there to make us 18 and 23. That was our 5th win in a row. And now today on Martin Luther King Day, shout out to the great Martin Luther King, we played against the Wizards again. Still no Trae Young. We got John Collins back, which was nice, but we didn't have Kawhi again, obviously. So John Collins got back in the starting lineup. We had Kobe Sanders instead of Kawhi, and we went 9 deep. No Yannick in this game, which I thought was surprising. We played Cam Christie, Jordan Miller, Brook Lopez, and Nico. Personally, for me, I would like to keep playing Yannick. I thought we could definitely have used a little bit more rim protection, definitely used a little bit more speed, because the Wizards are very young. They like to get out and run, and we started to see that very early in the game the game today. It was not the best effort from us, I'll be honest, but look, in the beginning of the season, we were just finding ways to lose games. And you know what they say? Bad teams find a way to lose games and good teams find a way to win them. And right now, we are starting to look like a good team that's finding ways to win them. So in the beginning of this game, we had Zoo guarding Alex Sarr, John Collins on Keyshawn George, James Harden on Chris Middleton, Chris Dunn on Trey Johnson, and then Kobe Sanders on Bub Carrington. And then I will say this, Alex Sarr didn't impress me at all last season, but I was very impressed with what I saw in this game. He was knocking down the open 3. He was finishing strong around the basket. He was getting deep position against smaller guys. He was rim running super hard in transition. And he showed some face-up game. He has a lot of potential. So I see some improvement there from Alex Sarr. They got a good one. And remember, he was projected to go number 1 in that draft for a minute. And then Zach Risache kind of, they kind of came out of nowhere with that one. But yeah, so as far as our defensive coverages, we had Zoo in drop coverage and Brooke Lopez in drop coverage, but we did see some hedging from Brooke as well. And then for the Wizards, they had Carrington on James Harden, Alex Sarr on Zoo, and Trey Johnson on Chris Dunn. And they had Sarr and Bagley hedging on the ball screens with James to try to get the ball out of his hands, and then dropping with Chris Dunn, of course. Zoo got off to a good start for us, which was really nice to see, finishing around the basket. Had a nice little lefty running jump hook early on. So he had 8 points, but he was getting outdone by Alex Sarr, who had 12 points in the first quarter. And a lot of it was when we were missing shots because we could not hit a fucking three to save our lives in this first half. Alex Sarr was rim running and getting deep position on smaller players and was finishing strong. As far as the way we were able to kind of stay in the game despite our cold shooting, James Harden got to the free throw line 9 times in the first quarter. And of course, as I've said many times, watching James Harden on my team, he gets calls that I just can't believe he gets sometimes. But when you play against a lot of young players, and when James plays against young players, he knows how to get them in foul trouble. He knows how to bait them into committing dumb fouls. And so he did a pretty good job of that early on in the game. And so after the first quarter, we were down. It was tied 26-26. So my whole thing was we just make shots. The stops will come. We'll stay out of transition. And we went on a 9-1 run early on in the second to make it 42-37. John Collins had 6 points, 4 of those in transition, and another one was on a jump hook around the basket. So again, you just love seeing John Collins be aggressive, but our rebounding effort was just poor all game. They out-rebounded us on the offensive glass 15-12, and there was just a large stretch where we just looked lazy, not boxing out, which has been a theme for us this season, and just not being first to get to loose balls. And I just thought we had a very lethargic energy about us that kind of reeked of underestimation of the Wizards because and I know they're quicker than us. They're younger than us, but we're getting beat on closeouts way too easily. We're getting beat off the dribble easily. Our second effort isn't there, like on the glass and in transition, and we're having constant miscommunications in transition. It was just not a locked-in performance. But against teams like the Wizards, when you have a guy like James Harden, you can still find a way to pull it out, and that's what we were able to do. But Brooke Lopez could not hit a freaking three wide open again. He was 0 for 5 from 3 in this game, and our bench off from 3 was 1 for 13. Our bench was 1 for 13, and we won this game, by the way, shooting 18% from 3 in the game, 5 for 28. They shot 37% from 3, and we still won. So as I said, we are finding ways to win games. James Harden had 18 points in the first half, and in the second quarter, we actually outscored the Wizards by 1. So we were up 54-53 at the half. And my thoughts going into the second half were we just got to rebound, knock down open threes, and work a little bit harder on defense, and we'll pull away from them. But that did not happen. We came out lazy on defense again. They outscored. They took the lead 70-60 at one point. They went on an 11-2 run because our transition communication was bad. For example, we'd have 2 guys off the ball and nobody on the ball because we weren't talking, and it just was ridiculous. But James Harden restored order. 6 straight paint points after that little run to make it 75-78. It was a 10-0 run by us to regain the lead, but it all started with James Harden getting downhill and finishing strong around the basket. He contributed to all 10 points of the 10-0 run, 8 points scored by himself and an assist. And then they started just doubling him the rest of the game, no matter where he was on our side of the floor. So Keyshawn George hit a buzzer-beating 3 to give the Wizards, but it didn't count, actually. It didn't count. They were up by 2 points going into the fourth, and all I could say was, all I could think was, we're playing like shit. We can still win the game, though, if we just put together one good quarter on both sides of the ball. Sorry to my man Nico Batum, but he could not hit at all today. He was 1 for 4 from the field, and all his shots were threes. He could not hit. But Jordan Miller could. He had 2 straight fast break buckets that gave us an 87-85 lead. Wizards called timeout. And then Chris Dunn made some really big plays in that fourth quarter. Got some, I don't know if he got multiple steals, but he got a steal that I remember. And he hit a huge 3 in the corner. And then it was close to the end, very close to the end. James Harden, though, took matters into his own hands and just finished off a pretty virtuoso game. 103-103 was the score with 2 minutes to go. Jordan Miller hit a 1 out of 2 free throws to put us up 104-103. And then James Harden, off of a timeout, hit a running floater or a running layup, however you want to call it, to make it 106-103. And then Chris Middleton got fouled on a 3 and tied the game. So it was 106-106, 58 seconds to go. Harden gets downhill, and he did a great job of getting by all their guys all day. Made both free throws. And then Keyshawn George missed a step-back jumper. Good defense by James, by the way, on that. And then Jordan Miller missed the 3. Keyshawn George tried to win the game with a really tough 3 and bricked. And then James Harden somehow missed both free throws, but then he got his own rebound, and then they fouled again, and he made both. So we win it 110-106. James Harden was huge. And I think he was definitely my player of the game. 110-106 is the final. We've now won 6 games in a row. We have won 13 out of our last 15. We're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. We're 19-23 on the season, back in the play-in range, and we are only 1 game back against the Portland Trailblazers in the loss column for the 9th seed. Again, 8th seed, the Warriors are 6 games over 500, so I don't know if that's achievable, but we're playing some really good basketball of late. We have the longest active winning streak in the NBA, and we have played the best basketball of any team in the last 15 games. And just some extra stats for your ass going into the Raptors game that I took a picture of. Before the Raptors game and this game, first in offensive rating through the last 13 games. 7th in defensive rating, 1st in net rating, 4th in three-point field goal percentage, and 1st in opposing three-point field goal percentage, which we remember early in the season, every team was hitting everything on us. So big win, 110-106. We got Chicago next. No Kawhi Leonard, so we'll see how it goes. Let's read the lines for this one. We shot 46%. They shot 43%. We shot 18% from 3. They shot 37%. We shot 87% from the free throw line. They shot 86%. However, we shot 16 more free throws than they did. And they turned the ball over more than we did. We turned the ball over 16 times. They turned the ball over 20 times. So when we are able to force that many turnovers, great things happen for us. And we outscored them 31-25 in the fourth, by the way, to win it 110-106. 38 free throw attempts is a lot, and 20 of them came from James Harden. We went 9 deep. Nico got the least amount of minutes with 19, and he had 3 points and 3 rebounds to go along with 1 assist and 1 steal and 1 turnover on 1 for 4 shooting, and all his shots were threes. And then Cam Christie, he didn't have the same kind of a game, but I thought he had some good defensive possessions one-on-one, contesting shots well. He had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 turnovers on 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, but he made all 4 of his free throws. But yeah, he didn't shoot very well. Brook Lopez played 20 minutes. He had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 steals, and 1 block. So he was active with his hands, but he just could not hit a damn 3. He was 2 for 2 from 2, 0 for 5 from 3 to finish 2 for 7 from the field and made both his free throws. It would be nice if Brook Lopez could make a damn 3, honestly, because he's actually doing pretty well in some of the other aspects, but we need him to make a damn 3 eventually, because it's getting to the point where he's just bricking and bricking and bricking, and it's just a lot. We need a little bit better. He's on the team to make some open threes. And then let's talk about Kobe Sanders, who started and just didn't have a great shooting game. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover on 3 for 11 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3. Did make 2 threes, and we really needed that. But his mid-range wasn't really falling in this game, but it is what it is. I don't think he was too bad. He did get blown by on some closeouts, so he wasn't. It wasn't his best game. And then John Collins, fresh off the injury, looked pretty good in my opinion. 11 points, 4 boards, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover on 5 for 7 shooting and 1 for 3 from downtown. JC in double figures, continuing to shoot really well. You love to see it. 6 of those points, however, came in the second quarter. So we definitely want him to be a little bit more aggressive throughout the entirety of the game. That will be my one request. But he is coming straight off an injury. So, might have to cut him some slack. Then we have the great Jordan Miller, who's playing some of the best basketball, or not some of, he is playing the best basketball of his career right now, continuing to get 2 feet in the paint, showing off the repertoire with his footwork, his balance off 1 foot, and just getting to the free throw line as well, but just being consistent. He's been 11, he's had double-figure scoring games in the last 6 games. All 6 of these wins, he's been in double figures except for one game, which is against Detroit, where he had 9. So he's had 9+ points in all of the last 6 games. You love to see it. He has scored 90 points in the last 6 games, which equals 15 points a game. I should have been able to do that mental math. Was a dumber. 15 points a game in the last 6. He has been awesome. In this one, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 dimes, 1 block. How about 4 steals? And he also had 4 steals against Toronto too. So he's had 10 steals in his last 3 games. 1 turnover on 5 for 11 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, but was 6 for 8 from the free throw line. I'm so happy for Jordan Miller, man. Like, really genuinely so happy for him. These guys got to get converted into standard contracts, though, man. We're getting to that point. Kobe Sanders has played 33 games. He's only got 17 more games of eligibility. Come on, man. We got 40 games left. We're going to need more than 17 from Kobe Sanders, the way that our roster is playing right now, the way that he's playing right now. And then Jordan Miller is in the same boat. He's only played 20, though, so he can play another 30. So he's got a little more leeway. But then we got Ivica Zubac and James Harden and Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn had 10 points, 5 boards, 4 dimes, 1 steal, and 1 block, and he turned the ball over twice on 3 for 6 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. I thought he was solid, and he made huge shots, and he shot well again from the field and from 3, and that's what we need from Chris Dunn. If Chris Dunn can be in double figures scoring the basketball, it's usually a really good night for us. And then we have Zoo, who I thought was solid. He had a second straight double-double. He's starting to work his way back into form. I still think we can use him a little bit more offensively. He had 14 points, 12 rebounds. I don't know why Brook Lopez played 20 minutes. That was a little much, in my opinion. But he did have 4 steals. But you have 14 and 12 for Zoo. And Zoo turned the ball over 5 times, which is way too much. He's got to stop traveling so much, man. 1 assist on 7 for 10 shooting and didn't even shoot a free throw. But speaking of guys that did shoot free throws, James Harden, 36 points, another 30+ point game, 7 rebounds, 9 dimes, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers on 9 for 17 shooting. He was actually 9 for 12 from 2, 0 for 5 from 3, 18 for 20 from the free throw line. James getting it done again. Send that man into it for the All-Star game. For the Wizards, they didn't actually have much from their bench. They only got a combined 17 points off their bench. Jordan Miller had 16 by himself. But all their starters were in double figures with 11+ points. Middleton was 3 for 10, though. And Keyshawn George, who I really like, by the way, I think he's got a good game on both ends of the floor. I was very impressed with his performance against Dallas early on in the season. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. 3 steals, but he also turned the ball over 6 times. Alex Sarr was their leading scorer with 28. He had 6 rebounds, 2 steals and a block, and 2 turnovers. Bub Carrington had 5 turnovers. Marvin Bagley had 4, and Justin Champagnie had 3. So, hey, man, let the good times roll right now. That's all I can say about that. I mean, just one game at a time. That's all we can do. One game at a time. Hopefully the Kawhi injury isn't much. I still think we should be calling to see if we can sell high on these guys. But, hey, man, what's going on behind closed doors? I don't know. we've gotten out of like OKC's getting a number 1 pick territory, so that's cool. But anyway, we're going to take a 2-minute break for me to get water, and then coming back, we're going to be talking about the Rams going to the NFC Championship game, baby, for the 3rd time in 10 years of returning back to Los Angeles. I'm going to be talking about that in a brief second. Tap in comments. What we saying, Clipper Nation? How we feeling? Let me know in the comments section. All right, give me a second to get water. 2 minutes, max. Max. Daniel Barry, tell people not to go anywhere. We're trying to talk about these Rams. All right. Hopefully a bunch of you guys didn't dip. Hopefully a bunch of you guys did not dip. Let's see what we got. 26 people? Okay. Cool. All right. So, man, what a game that was. Rams, Bears, Soldier Field, freezing cold environment. Hey, man, I just want to say a shout out to the Chicago Bears and their fans. You know, my mom went to school in Chicago. It's my favorite city in the USA outside of LA. And they got some great sports fans, some really nice people. And it was really cool to see Soldier Field so packed for a playoff game and so loud, you know, in this postseason. But man, you got to give credit to the Rams. There were a lot of things in this game that happened that felt like we shouldn't win this game, or this just doesn't feel like our night, including that incredible Hail Mary type play by Caleb at the end. And again, it's like bittersweet. Like for me, I'm a USC fan. You know what I'm saying? So seeing Caleb and seeing the success that he's having, I'm so happy for him. But you know, they can't beat my Rams. You know what I'm saying? We can't have that. So it's weird because since we won a Super Bowl, and like, of course, the Rams like mean a lot to me, but it's not like my favorite team, which is the Clippers, right? Like the Clippers, I just live and die with. And I have seen all of my other favorite pro sports teams win a title. The Dodgers have won 3, but really the last 2 have felt so special. You know, no bubble, no excuse, no asterisk, whatever. The Kings have won 2 Stanley Cups. My MLS team, LAFC, has won. Chelsea, my favorite European team, has won. And I've seen them win everything. So I've seen all, and the Rams, obviously, with the Super Bowl, I've seen all my teams win. And because the Clippers are my favorite team, it feels like if I see at least one title in all my teams before I die, see, you know what I'm trying to say. If I see every one of my favorite sports teams win one title before I die, I'm satisfied. The only one left is the Clippers. But it always never occurs to me like, hey, I can see my team win multiple titles. And so like with the Rams, right, it's also a feeling of, are we spoiled as Rams fans? You know, especially the ones that started supporting them when they came back to LA. Like for me, I never had a team. Like I didn't want a team until we got one back in this city. So for me, I see all these people that have been fans of their teams from other states and other cities for so much longer than me. And not only have they not seen their team win a Super Bowl, they haven't seen their team make it to 3 NFC championship games in 10 years or conference championship games in 10 years. But then I think to myself, we didn't have a fucking team at all for 21 years. So I'm not feeling bad for nobody. You know what I'm saying? We deserve this. I stayed loyal to the soil. You know what I'm saying? I never chose another team because I knew one day we'd get a team. And then I've also worked for the Rams for a year. So like, come on. So I wasn't really that nervous. And like, I don't get nervous anymore for the Rams. But then after Caleb made that play, I started getting nervous because I was like, if our season comes to an end on that when we were this close to being in Seattle, I would have been like, oh my God. And then a part of you just has to remind yourself that just because the Rams have been really great in this Sean McVay era does not mean that we are going to be great forever. We need to understand that we have a great quarterback that's in, he's not doesn't have forever. We have Puka, and the life of NFL players career-wise is short. It's not basketball. So it's not soccer. So, when you got Puka in his prime or like Puka playing like this, you got to appreciate it for what it is. You saw how quickly injuries mess with Cooper Cup. So, got to take advantage of that. And the fact that we were able to bounce back from that touchdown and from that stadium going absolutely bananas, Cam Curl getting that interception, and then Mevis. We had such a big problem with Playboy Cardi in the beginning of the season, and Mevis has been somewhat God sent for us in this second half of the season and hit, the thicker kicker had his big moment. I don't think I've ever in my life heard a stadium go that quiet after a score of any kind. And I've seen the clips from people in the stadium, and I was obviously watching on TV. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. Like, it was that quiet when he hit that field goal. So unbelievable. And, Caleb threw a big pick. It wasn't a great throw. I know DJ Moore took a weird route on that, but hey, man, we will take it. And it's a resilient win. And it's like the Panthers game, we played like absolute ass cheeks and we came out with the W. This game weren't great, in my opinion. Probably should have pulled away, but we found a way to get across the finish line. Some big plays made by Kyron Williams throughout the game. Some big plays made by Kobe Durant throughout the game. And, it's just find a way to get a win in the NFL. Like, find a way to just get that one win. Because all you need is 3 or 4 in the postseason, and then you're a champion. It's just a matter of minimizing big mistakes, minimizing turnovers, preventing teams from getting first downs on third down, like that kind of shit. It's fine margins in football, not missing extra points, not having blocked punts or blocked kicks, which has happened to us way too much this season. So, huge, huge win, hostile environment. 20-17 is the final in overtime. Matt Stafford throws for 258 yards, no touchdowns, but no interceptions. So that was absolutely huge, while Caleb threw 3 picks. Kyron Williams carried for 87 yards, 21 carries, 87 yards, and had 2 rushing touchdowns. Colby Parkinson continues his amazing season with 3 receptions for 56 yards. Puka Nacua, only 5 receptions for 56 yards. They did a pretty good job on him. And then Kyron Williams also had 4 receptions. So, just finding a way to get it done by committee. And, Stafford did have 2 fumbles, though. He recovered one of them. But big plays by Cam Curl. He had 13 tackles. Nate Landman, the Landman, 10 tackles. I know it's Landman, but Omar Spates, big game for him. Had a lot of big tackles as well. Cam Kitchens, Quinton Lake. So, this defense, this has kind of been like their 3rd year together or like 2nd year together. Some of these guys have been on the team for 3 years. Some of these guys have been on the team for 2 years. I counted our roster, and I think I calculated 5 players that were on that Super Bowl roster in 2021. So it's largely a new team. Of course you have McVay and you have Staff and you have Rob Havenstein, and I think Alaric Jackson was on the team as well. And I'm probably forgetting some others, maybe Troy Reader, but it's largely a very new roster. And we've had some playoff experience the last couple of years. We fell short in the divisional game 2 straight years with the Lions loss and the Eagles loss. So to get these 2 road wins, I mean, absolutely huge. Shows the resilience of this team. Tyler Higbee, of course. How did I forget about him? And just seeing, of course, McVay, the legend, my favorite coach of all time across any sport. His enthusiasm, his post-game locker room speeches, it's just electric, man. Absolutely electric. And we live to see another day. Live to see another day, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the NFC Championship again for the third time in our 10 years being back in Los Angeles. Look, man, my duties as an AAU coach have really hurt me watching Rams games this season. I missed the majority of games this season. I will not lie to my audience, but I'm always going to make sure I watch every playoff game. I try to watch every game I can. I was at the opening game. Check out the vlog on this channel. And did I think that we had a chance to get to the NFC Championship? Absolutely. With the addition of Devontae Adams, you have arguably the best receiver in football with Puka. Matthew Stafford showed everybody the last 2 seasons that he's nowhere near washed. Don't think I forgot. When I was employed by the Rams in 2022, it was, are we going to tank for Caleb? Funny enough, Matthew Stafford beating Caleb Williams in a playoff game 3 years later. Matthew Stafford, MVP. Come on, son. MVP that man. But my New England friends back from UMass think it should be Drake May. I swear to God, if we play the Patriots again, no, we better win. And now I'm on home soil. I'm on home turf without my friends from Massachusetts being in my ear. If we win them, I'm going to talk so much fucking shit. They're going to hate me. We need some revenge. But honestly, I would rather play the Broncos just so my blood pressure doesn't go crazy. But that being said, we got to beat the Seahawks. So I shouldn't even be talking about the Super Bowl. Is it going to be a Broncos-Seahawks rematch? Remember the demolition that we saw in 2014? And then we could have a little Patriots-Seahawks rematch. That produced one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen with the Malcolm Butler interception. Now, the Patriots and Broncos reminds me of those Manning-Brady days where at Mile High, the Broncos beat the Pats twice to make it to those 2 Super Bowls. And hopefully it's the same result again because I do not want the Pats getting back to the Super Bowl so soon after Tom Brady left. Fuck that. All my friends need to stay quiet because it's the 2020s are LA's decade. Forget about the Lakers bubble ring because I'm not a Laker fan and it's the bubble ring. And even, you know what? I'm a Dodger fan. Forget about our 2020 title. Forget about it. Back-to-back titles, a Super Bowl, and LAFC won the MLS. Now, I know it's the MLS, but I don't really care about it. But, hey, we're only at 2025, and we have 3 titles. And if you want to go 2020, we got 5. 6 if you count the MLS. Come on. We are big time. We are big time. And this is the decade where the Dodgers are on a dynasty. And oh, I forgot about the Galaxy winning last year. I can't believe I forgot about that. Yeah, the Galaxy won last year in 2024. So, I mean, between the Galaxy winning in 2024 and then LAFC winning. Yeah, the Galaxy won in 2024. The Galaxy beat the New York Red Bulls in 2024, and then LAFC won in 2022. So, yeah, I mean, we were winning titles, man. And the Rams, we'll see. I mean, the Seahawks are going to be tough. That's a hostile environment. Playing against Cooper Kupp, that would be, I mean, that's going to be emotional. But let's see, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I'm proud of this Rams team, man, no matter how this ends. Getting to the NFC Championship, the years that we've had recently with McVay, you don't take it for granted. And especially with the years that I didn't even have a team. It's really special. So I think I'm going to try to see if I can go to that viewing party because I don't have an AAU commitment on Sunday. So I think I can maybe get to that viewing party at SoFi. We can do a vlog and interview some fans and just see the atmosphere because we're really in the NFC Championship again. Like, holy shit. Last time we did that, both times we've been in the NFC Championship in my time as a fan, meaning our return to LA, we won. Beat the Saints on the road. And, of course, my favorite, beat the Miners. So let's see what happens here. Seattle, bring it on. I have a lot of respect for Seattle. Sam Darnold, USC legend. Cooper Kupp, Rams legend. So we'll see. Go Rams. Rambly, what you think? Let me know in the comment section. And if you've been watching this whole video, Clipper Nation, let me know what you think in the comments as well. And if you're wondering, if you're a Laker fan watching the channel and saying, Dime, are you going to cover the Lakers or what the fuck is going on there? I will update you at the All-Star break. I don't know if I'll be able to do as many Laker recaps going forward. That's all I'll say, unfortunately. Peace out, everybody, and go Rams. Go Clips.